Hello and welcome to this week's Neumann Update. I'm Alexis Lomax. Last night, following the last presidential debate before election, students and faculty participated in a virtual discussion allowing for everyone to express their views on the debate and other topics relevant to the election. As it has done previously, the debate asked questions in which both candidates were to reaffirm their plans and beliefs in their answer. Similar to the last presidential debate and town hall, questions pertaining to issues such as the COVID-19 pandemic, healthcare, criminal justice reform, and also the confirmed foreign interference with this year's election. During the post-presidential debate, students actively voiced their opinions to the responses said by either President Trump or Vice President Biden and what they know to be factual. On the talk about living with COVID-19, one student's remark about what President Trump said was, "You're the president. Why are you worried about what someone else would do?" While another student said, "I would love to go to Neumann full-time and to my job full-time, but I can't because there's a virus." As the talk shifted gears to criminal justice reform, one student pointed out how she was in favor of Biden's beliefs and that people shouldn't go to jail because of drugs and that they should seek professional help. But at the same time, she was apprehensive on where Biden would draw the line and make people take accountability for their actions. In a time where equality, Black Lives Matter, and immigrants are pressing matters, the response of one student was, "I'm sitting here thinking, what has he, President Trump, done for me and what he has done for the people here at Neumann?" To which she then stumbled to have a concrete answer for. More campus programming will take place on Election Day, and other discussions will take place on November 4th. Fighting for equality continues to be one of the biggest challenges that tears our world apart, and you can't talk about equality without mentioning the LGBTQ community, along with many other groups. And as we continue to fight and march for equality and our basic human rights, a glimpse of hope for the LGBT community came this week as Pope Francis declared for civil unions for same-sex couples. Pope Francis made the historic remarks in Francesco, a new documentary film that premiered at the Rome Film Festival on Wednesday. In the film, he said, "Homosexual people have a right to be in a family. They're children of God, and they have the right to be a family. Nobody should be thrown out or be miserable over it." The film also explores the Pope's works and views on other issues, including climate change, migration, and economic equality. Pope Francis has suggested in past interviews that he is not against civil unions, but this is the first time as Pope that he has directly come out in favor of them. As Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Francis advocated for same-sex civil unions and as an alternative when Argentina was discussing whether to legalize same-sex marriage. Francis's comments different from his predecessor, Benedict XVI, who made the news when he labeled homosexuality as an intrinsic moral evil. While the Pope's message was a personal statement from his heart and less of an official message from the Roman Catholic Church, his compassion and love towards those in the LGBT community certainly means a lot to those who have been alienated for years. With Halloween being next week, it's a tradition in many households all over to watch the all-time classic, It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. But watching it will be different this year, just like many other things in 2020, as the show won't be broadcasted to television this year for the first time since 1966. But don't worry, the show isn't going anywhere, it's just switching platforms. It was announced Tuesday that It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown will be aired exclusively on Apple TV as part of an expanded partnership with Wild Brain, Peanuts Worldwide, and Lee Mendelssohn's Film Productions. Many of the other Peanuts animated classics like A Charlie Brown Thanksgiving and A Charlie Brown Christmas, episodes pertaining to Mother's Day, Earth Day, New Year's Eve, back to school season, The Snoopy Show, and season 2 of Snoopy in Space will also air on Apple TV+. For those that don't have Apple TV, the streaming service is allowing viewers to watch the Halloween special for free from October 30th to November 1st, the Thanksgiving special from November 25th to 27th, and the Christmas program from December 11th to the 13th. It goes without saying that here at Neumann, we take pride on making sure that all students have the extra support they may need. From the hub on the ground floor of Bachman, adhering to students needing tutoring, academic counseling, writing support, those with disabilities, and much more, to the Counseling Center for Wellness, there for those who need support outside the realm of academics. Starting next week, the Counseling Center for Wellness will run 2 new virtual groups, the Anxiety Group, or TAG for short, and Down, Not Out, as an extra resource for students dealing with anxiety or depression. I spoke with Elizabeth Barr and Mary Beth Davis, two licensed professional counselors in the Counseling Wellness Center, to learn more about TAG and Down, Not Out. Let's take a look. In a time of chaos, confusion, and many other emotions comes the start of 2 new groups being offered within the Counseling Center for Wellness. While the Counseling Center typically talks with students one-on-one, they've added on new group sessions as means to better serve our students.
Known the value of a group setting. It's been difficult for us to initiate groups in the past, but this semester in particular, we have the resources to be able to do that. We also are in the midst of a global pandemic, and we feel that we are able to more efficiently and effectively serve our students in a group setting, and that the need may be greater right now, given the pandemic.
So what makes these groups different from the others already in place?
I hear students come in and they share the same concerns, and everyone thinks this, and I think everybody thinks this about me, and I think everybody's concerned about this, and I don't have any friends, and I don't know if I'll ever be in a relationship, or I don't know if this is going to work out or not. And it's the same almost conversation. Then I wish I could say, oh, if only you could meet this person, right? If only you could talk to this person, could both talk about this subject and figure out that you're not the only 2 people who feel this way. And so I think group offers that unique way of being able to connect with other people.
Along with the stylistic approach, the inclusiveness that went into designing these programs were also important.
So the groups weren't designed by students. They definitely come with student input. We have a group of wellness educators. So those are second, third, and fourth year students who work at the counseling center. And so we always glean wisdom from those wellness educators around offerings. So we always get their input.
With more and more groups like these being offered in schools and universities, what does it show about our present time and students' college experience?
I do believe that COVID is definitely affecting all of our mental health, and maybe to some extent college students even more so. College students are under unique pressures to begin with, right? And the pandemic has complicated all of our lives, but it's complicated learning in a really big way. And we hear every day how difficult some students are finding either the isolation or online learning, or adapting, feeling like they don't have any support. So even more so for colleges.
When asked how long each group would run, the response was,
The groups will run for about 4, 5, or 6 weeks. It kind of depends on what the group decides, is what we kind of decided. With an option, right? If we went a full 6 or 7 weeks, I think it would end on December 9th, which I think may or may not be finals. I'm a little hesitant to know. So it could go through the rest of the semester, but it depends on what the group needs. Now, this will also be something that we hope to replicate next semester.
if you're wondering how the groups will operate,
The clinical counseling groups like TAG and Down Not Out are open to all students, but once we form our group, that then becomes a closed group where students can't move in and out.
for most students, there's always a sense of apprehension, but in talking to Mary Beth and Elizabeth, they highly encourage students to not let that apprehension keep you from joining these groups.
Time and time again, students have talked to me about their fear of attending groups, but the experience has been for those students who have stepped outside of their comfort zone and went to a group experience, they come back and it has been a very positive and rewarding experience.
If you're not sure where to begin or what group is right for you, the Counseling Center advises students to start by filling out a general form. For those interested in tag, meetings start on the 28th and occur every Wednesday after from 8 to 9:15 p.m. For Down Not Out, meetings will begin on the 26th and take place on Mondays from 7 p.m. to 8:15. Also available to students are the Unite Grief Group on Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Brown Sugar Sisters on Sundays from 3 to 4 p.m. Make sure to follow the Counseling Center on Instagram at nu_counseling_wellness for more details and interest forms. Now let's go over to Ria with our sports update.
Thank you, Lexi. Over the past couple of weeks, Philly's major sports teams are taking full advantage of the off-season in the sense that they have been reconstructing not only their rosters, but their head management teams. On Sunday night, the Philadelphia Phillies announced pitching coach Brian Price has retired from his position. The news comes nearly a year after Price was added to Joe Girardi's coaching staff. Prior to joining the Phillies, Price spent time as manager in Cincinnati and pitching coach in Arizona and Seattle. As of now, it is unclear if the Phillies will wait to hire a new general manager before adding a new pitching coach. Similar changes continue to be made in the Sixers front office. The Sixers have hired former Indiana Pacers Senior Vice President of Basketball Operations, Peter Dinwiddie, as well as former scout for the Orlando Magic, Prosper Karangwa. Dinwiddie will serve as the team's Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations and be the number 2 basketball operations executive under General Manager Elton Brand. Karangwa will be the Sixers Vice President of Player Personnel. While these are 2 significant additions for the Sixers, it remains to be seen precisely how much will change this offseason in the team's front office. After sitting out the 2019-20 season due to a migraine disorder, Nolan Patrick, one of the Flyers' 3 remaining restricted free agents, accepted his 1-year, $800,000 qualifying offer this past Friday. Prior to the 2019-20 season being suspended, Patrick had been skating with and practicing with the team with non-contact restrictions. Patrick's return in the 2020-21 season is highly anticipated by the club and could be valuable for the Flyers' depth down the middle. Nolan Patrick is an excellent passer with 200-foot ability, and his skills would match up flawlessly behind Sean Couturier and Kevin Hayes. Finally, the Eagles redeemed themselves from the brink last night against the Giants. Carson Wentz drove the Eagles through 2 back-to-back touchdowns late in the fourth to rally the team from an 11-point deficit to their second win of the season. This is the first time in 8 years the Eagles have come back to win a game trailing by double digits in the fourth quarter. Will the Birds keep this momentum through the bye week to win over the Cowboys on November 1st? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. And we will now turn to Amaris for this week's Critic Corner.
Hello everyone and welcome to Critics Corner. My name is Amaris Manning and we are just 1 week away from Halloween. And every week I select a show or movie to talk about and dissect into based on its level of popularity on your favorite streaming service. Then, on a scale from 1 to 10, I rate the show based on originality, creativity, and empowerment from the storyline, and I also take into consideration the production for the film or series as well, such as camera work, costumes, and acting. With all that said, let's get into it. This week, I cradled myself like a baby as I watched the most anticipated show on Netflix right now, The Haunting of Bly Manor, which was released on the streaming service October 9th. The show is loosely based on Henry James's work Turn of the Screw and is a follow-up series to The Haunting of Hill House, which will have an episode of its own on Critics Corner. Much of the team from Hill House returned and were featured on Bly Manor, but Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor are not connected stories in any way. The show of Haunting of Bly Manor follows a young governess by the name of Danielle Clayton, hired by a man to look after his niece Flora and nephew Miles at the country house after both children fall into his care due to an unfortunate accident that resulted to the deaths of the children's parents. To be honest, when I first heard that the show was in the works, I was excited because Haunting of Hill House had me on edge and I was hiding under my covers with my suite mate before COVID. So you can imagine my excitement for Bly Manor. I crave good horror content. However, for a horror show, Bly Manor did not necessarily meet my expectations. If anything, I thought it was more suspenseful than horrifying. Sure, you have the occasional jump scares, but after a while, the running jump scare routine becomes predictable and too overused. There were moments where I didn't even look away, let alone flinch, because I knew it was going to happen. Usually, I don't like to compare shows, but compared to Hill House, Bly Manor was a major flop on the horror scale. But the story itself was actually pretty good. The casting was perfect. The actors from Hill House were really capable of shifting gears and portraying characters that were different from the characters they portrayed on Hill House. And because of that, it made the storyline more enticing and the characters felt more real on an emotional and psychological level. And believe it or not, I actually liked the children more so than the leading actress since they were the real ones who delivered an eerie feel to the story. Like, for example, the little girl Flora makes her own little voodoo dolls and places them in different parts of the house and even has them settled in her dollhouse, but each doll represents either someone alive or someone who has unfinished business from the great beyond. Not to mention, did you know that the little girl who portrays Flora in the show voices Peppa Pig? I thought that was pretty interesting. But I wasn't also too blown away with the camera shots. I thought they were pretty okay for a Netflix show, very average. But the lighting really set the bar for that eerie feel and adding suspense to it. And I have to admit, the costumes were pretty amazing and really delivered that vintage feel. I really liked it. Now, with all that being said, considering the writers attempted to fully deliver a horrific vibe to match with the story of Hill House, but made it more suspenseful than terrifying, but it still had a good creative plot, on a scale from 1 to 10, I have to give this show a 7.5, and that's generous. Here's why. The jump scares were average, hardly predictable, actually quite predictable, and the story itself, though, however, was pretty good. Would I recommend to my friends? Probably. Would I watch it again? That question still remains. I'm Amaris Manning, and this has been Critics Corner for the Neumann Update.
Well, two brazen bandits broke into a Redwood City, California bank this Tuesday evening. These furry friends were celebrating Mischief Night a little too early when they broke into the bank before it opened as they climbed up the roof from a tree to the roof of the bank, crawled through the air ducts, and fell through the ceiling into the bank's floor. A man using the ATM in the wee hours of the morning spotted these careful critters where he originally believed that they were stuffed animals, but did a double take to realize that he was staring down a live raccoon, where he called the SPCA. After chasing the raccoons around the bank for about 10 minutes, they finally complied and were shooed out. Thankfully, no one was injured in the escapade, and according to the bank, did not leave with any cold, hard cash. Remember that game Jetpack Joyride you played when you were a kid? Well, it seems like it's become a real thing now. A person appeared to be riding a jetpack, was reported near the Los Angeles International Airport for the second time since August. An airline crew member spotted the flyer at an altitude of 6,000 feet, 7 miles northwest of the airport Wednesday afternoon. The FBI is currently investigating, but it has become a mystery of who the flyer is because no videos or photos have been reported. A female pilot suggests that it could be a mannequin strapped onto a drone, but either way, anything flying in the path of a jet is extremely dangerous. With that, let's get right into Tech Talk. We all get goosebumps when we hear those 6 dreadful words. The ice cream machine is broken. When we pull up to the McDonald's drive-thru in hopes for a delicious delight. But thanks to a brand new developed website created by a 24-year-old software engineer, we won't have to worry any longer. Thanks to his site McBroken, he is on the prowl to track down every broken ice cream machine from McDonald's in the United States. Once on the site, it displays a map of every McDonald's location in the world. Let me pull it up right now, with clusters of colorful dots. The green dots indicate that the ice cream machine is working, while the red dots indicate that the machine does not. The idea for the site was inspired when the man tried to order a McSundae on a trip to Berlin and was unable to, so he decided to take matters into his own hands and build a bot. This technology works by having the bot attempt to order a McSundae every 30 minutes via the McDonald's official app. If the bot successfully adds the sundae to the cart, it displays a green dot to show that the machine is working. If it cannot, it gets a red dot. He originally created this as a joke, but after just 20 minutes of launching the website, he got over 10,000 visitors and realized that he was onto something big. Just this evening, David Tovar, McDonald's VP of Communications, is in support, where he tweeted, "Only a true McDonald's fan would go to these lengths to help customers get our delicious ice cream," and that is absolutely right. And now, let's check in with Amanda with this week's On a Positive Note.
Go, Amanda.
Thanks, James. Whoa, what a week it has been. I don't know about you, but mine has been filled with tests, projects, and other assignments. But there are still so many great things going on around us that can help rejuvenate our smiles as we enter the weekend. These stories surely helped for me. A 5-year-old boy named Wade Williams from Georgia decided he wanted to publish a book to inspire kids to stay positive during these uncertain times that we are living in due to the coronavirus pandemic. With the help of his father, he wrote a book called Wade Through the Pandemic, which encourages kids to keep a winning attitude despite the impact of the pandemic on their lives, as the book shares some highs and lows Wade has experienced. His goal for the book is to let other children know that they are not alone as they're going through this hard time. Wade's book was published on October 2nd and is currently listed in the top 100 children's new baby books on Amazon's bestsellers list. Williams' father says he hopes children will read the book and take away a sense of resilience. Thanks for sharing your story with us, Wade. If reading or writing are not your forte and you prefer stress relievers that are more active, dare I say dance, then you will love what Luis Carrere has been up to in Philadelphia. Luis grew up in Peru and found a style of dance called breaking to be his passion. Breaking is a competitive style of dance that is commonly referred to as breakdancing and commonly consists of 4 types of movements: top rocks, down rocks, power moves, and freezes. Over the last decade, Luis has become one of the world's best breaking dancers and competes all over the world. During the pandemic, Luis decided to share his love and passion for dance with others through virtual breaking classes that have a primary focus on Spanish-speaking dancers. So if you want to take a break from your schoolwork and try something new, you can check out Luis's virtual breaking classes, and who knows, you might actually find it to be one of your passions as well. And if you want to escape the monotonous pandemic restrictions and enter the Halloween land of your dreams, then you should check out Skyland Stadium in Augusta, New Jersey, where they are providing people with the opportunity to participate in their jack-o'-lantern experience to get in the Halloween mood. The jack-o'-lantern experience is a family-friendly drive-through display that is decorated with over 5,000 jack-o'-lanterns. This Halloween spectacular display is open from 6 to 10 p.m. now until November 1st, and tickets are sold by the carload. Visitors will not only get to see jack-o'-lanterns, they will also have the opportunity to enjoy displays that range from dinosaurs to Disney characters. Skyland Stadium has built the Halloween experience with visitors' safety in mind and is following social distancing guidelines. When families finish the drive-through experience, they are welcome to explore the Fall Festival located inside the park, which offers food, special craft beer, and carnival rides. Wow, that sounds like fun. As we are just a week away from Halloween, how are you going to celebrate Halloween this year in a safe manner? And that's everything for this week's On a Positive Note. How about we head over to Rhea to get a glimpse of the weather for next week?
Thank you, Amanda. After a foggy yet mild week, we have some rain starting to move in for your upcoming 5-day forecast. However, enjoy those clear skies tonight and a low of 58 degrees to kick off your weekend festivities. Tomorrow follows with some morning clouds as the sun moves into the afternoon and a swift high of 69 degrees. Sunday finishes out the weekend with mostly cloudy skies and the temperature will drop to a brisk 54 degrees. Monday brings with it some morning showers and a high of 66. Tuesday, much of the same with morning showers and 66 degrees. Finally, Wednesday, those showers stick around and the high stays fairly consistent at 64 degrees. That's all for this week's weather update. Back to you, Alexis.
Thanks, Rhea. Coming up next week, we have a flu shot clinic that will be held on the 27th and 28th, provided by the Health Services Center in partnership with Walgreens. On Tuesday, the clinic will be in the Bruder Gym in the Beata Atrium on Wednesday. See the email from Dr. Haynes Frank for more details on how to sign up in advance. Walk-ins are welcome, but first come, first serve. Looking to make plans post-graduation but not sure what you want to do? You might want to think about attending the virtual post-grad service fair on Tuesday, October 27th at 5:30 p.m. During the session, students will have the opportunity to meet with program directors and recruiters from post-grad service organizations, giving students the potential to serve for various intervals like the summer, a year, or even a semester. Programs may be domestic or international. The fair is open to students from all years and all majors. Check out the email from Campus Ministry for the link to sign up. That's all for this week's Neumann Update. I'm Alexis Lomax.